o'clock. All stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. This is June 24th Planning Board meeting of Town of Orangetown.
This conference will now
Pledge
be
allegiance
recorded.
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to have a roll call. Okay, Thomas Warren's here. Mr. Young?
Present.
Mr. Young is here. Mr. Mandel? Mr. Mandel is here. I can see him. Steve Sweeney will not be here. Mr. Andrews, I see you. Yes, you're here. Okay, Mr. McCory, I see you are here. I don't see Mr. Dell, nor do I see Mr. Bond. Okay, so first item up is PB 20-20 SMK Green Subdivision.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, ma'am.
You know, Mr. Dell just arrived.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Dell is here.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
again, because I'm going to recuse myself on this first item, like I did last time.
thank you, Mr. Dell.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, I just lost my train of thought.
Mr.
No,
Chairman,
not
Bruce Bond is here too. I see him.
Okay, thank you very much. I'd like to tell everybody who is on to please shut off their microphones until you are called. This way we don't have any feedback. Mr. Brenner, you shut yours off, please, just for a moment. Okay, so Mr. Warren is here, Mr. Young is here, Mr. Mandel is here, Mr. Dell is here, but he's going to excuse himself for this project. Mr. Andrews is here, Mr. McCory is here, and Mr. Bond. Okay. Mr. Brenner, you explain your project, please, sir.
Yes, sir. I am the attorney for SMK Home Builders. There will be 3 people related to the project. We will have Mr. Jay Greenwell, the surveyor and planner, will be speaking. And we also have the builder, Mr. Sean Keenan, who will also be speaking. The last time this project appeared before your board, there was not enough members involved, so therefore we could not get a majority vote. So it was held over, and during that period of time, the planners went back to study the situation again and to see if they could modify the design in some way. Mr. Greenwell will talk to you about a modification which was done. We think this has worked out well. We will show you that one of the variances went away. We do not need an FAR variance, and the only variance we need right now is an access variance in terms of front yard. In other words, we need a front yard dimension. Before Mr. Greenwell gets on here, however, Mr. Sean Keenan, the builder, would like to talk to the board. So Sean, can you open up your mic?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Good evening. Thank you. So I just wanted to make a brief opening statement, which I'd ordinarily let Jay do, but I think I'd like to make some comments myself tonight, just based upon my past experience in Orangetown and this project. So that being said, I felt it was important to speak on my own behalf directly to the board or any interested neighbors. Been building homes in Orangetown and appeared before this board on numerous occasions for roughly 25 years now. I've never had an application denied in that time, and I believe it's because I come in with realistic plans and proposals. I've done numerous multi-lot subdivisions over that time and encourage any concerned neighbors to take a look at them in person. I've developed 3 lots on the corner of Sickletown and Town Line Road, 4 lots on Summit Avenue, 4 lots on Pine Tree Lane in Tapan, 6 lots on private Del Regno Court, Erie Street, currently 4 lots on Tweed Boulevard, and many other single-family homes throughout the town over the years. I mention this for 2 reasons. Number 1, in case any neighbor is concerned about the quality and the detail I put into the homes, which I believe have all become a great addition to the community, along with the owners who have enjoyed them for many years. Number 2, To the best of my recollection, I believe in all that time, I have asked for a variance only one occasion, which was on my own home on Sickletown Road over 20 years ago. I know this board is not the body that grants the variances, but my point being, I don't take zoning codes lightly and don't try to overdevelop properties. I pride myself on well thought out plans that enhance the neighborhood and its value. The project I have before you tonight is bordered by many mixed uses. To the east by Homes for Heroes, to the north by a commercial building, to the south by the Propane Firehouse, and directly to the west by 4 residential homes. The existing home on the property is in total disrepair and ideally should be demolished for the overall improvement of the neighborhood and my property as well. The total lot area, this is one big thing I wanted to make, but I think this is a non-issue at this point. The total lot area is 76,014 square feet, which lends to 5 lots at an average of 15,202 square feet per lot. Jay's initial layout would have required me to give up 2,354 square feet of my land for a road widening strip to the county of Rocklin, leaving me approximately 200 square feet short for bulk on the 5th lot. I believe Jay's going to speak to this more later. And the other variance being a small variance for a street frontage because the lot sits way back off the street. To put this in perspective, the variance I was requesting for the size of the bulk was the average of a average parking spot. Again, I know I'm not making a case for variances tonight, but I think it's important to put in perspective how small the variances are, or variance, I believe in this case, and seek your approval simply to be able to make my case for relief to the ZBA. I'd also like to point out these type of variances have been granted numerous times throughout the town, and I'd like to give you 4 examples tonight. I'm sure I could come up with others if required to further down. Number 1, you approved the Maloney subdivision on Fisher Avenue, R15 zone, 2-lot subdivision, granted a street frontage variance, flag lot, and an FAR variance. Number 2, the Walter subdivision, Oak Tree Road, Palisades, R40, 5 variances granted. On this, you granted a total relief of 25,069 square feet that it was short on bulk area for this. It was also granted a street frontage variance for a flag lot, and additionally a lot width and side yard variance. Number 3, the Boyle subdivision, Terrace Drive, 5 variances granted. Street frontage on all 3 lots.
Yeah, you got your mic on? Jay, shut your mic, please. Thank you.
I'll start that one over. Number 3 was the Boyle subdivision, Terrace Drive. You granted an overall, not you, the ZBA, excuse me, granted an overall 5 variances. 3 lots, 1 having street frontage of only 12.3 feet, side yard and lot width variances also. Number 4, 319 Blauvelt Road, Pearl River, also R15 zone, 2-lot subdivision, 3 variances granted, including a 1,300 square foot bulk area variance, street frontage for a flag lot, and lot width. I want to thank the board for allowing me the time to present this to you. And I think I've demonstrated the plan is sound, requiring, at this point, we believe only 1 small variance that will not have any negative impact on a very mixed use area. I also believe that I have shown a case of precedents being set many times over for these variances on new subdivisions, much greater in number and percentage than I would like to see from the ZBA. I would like now to turn over to back to Mr. Greenwell and Mr. Brenner as we collaboratively listened to the neighbors last meeting and came up with some modifications to the plan. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jay?
Jay, you have anything to say?
Yeah, Jay, you want to pick it up?
Sure, thank you. As noted, we were last before the board on June 1st, at which time there were some specific concerns relative to the traffic on Green Road and to the 5-lot layout and the variance request. Since the last meeting, we've reviewed the layout and taken into consideration the comments and the letters from the neighbors. As noted, the initial lot layout took into consideration a proposed 14.37-foot wide road widening along Western Highway, which was taking a considerable chunk of land away from the original net lot area. That widening amounted to almost 2,350 square feet. In comparison, the variance we were looking for at that time was a little over 200 square feet, as noted, typical size of a parking space, 10 by 20. Because these de minimis variances are not usually treated with too much concern, we usually left to the ZBA to hash out. We did not feel this was an unreasonable request. However, due to the comments regarding the issue of the lot area variance, we did a great deal of additional research going back to the county. There have been a number of subdivisions along Western Highway, as well as the site plan for Homes for Heroes directly across the street. There is no consistency to the designated road width being used. And we took the worst case scenario in preparing the original plan provided by the adjacent subdivision, which was done in 1967. That was Pearl Plaza. And that indicated a right of way which was 35 feet from the center line for a total of 70 feet. And accordingly, we followed that worst case scenario, that road widening of 35 feet from the center line. Jane, if you could pull up Exhibit 1, that would be great. Or if you'd rather, I could do it.
I made you a presenter if you want to do it, and this way you can use your cursor to point things out.
Very good.
And I have it ready if you have difficulty.
Okay. So,
Share your screen, Jay.
yep. Getting there. Okay, this is the official map from the County Highway Department, and I have zoomed in showing the area of the site, which is right in this location just south of Independence Avenue. Mr. Brenner's office is right on the north corner opposite this site. The area of blue designates a 70-foot right-of-way up until Orangeburg Road. From that point south, the area is designated as a 50-foot right-of-way, as shown on this legend on the map from the County Highway Department. So again, 50 feet in front of the property. The second layout, this is the original layout depicting an adjusted road dedication 25 feet from the center line, which would be a 4.37-foot road widening shown on the east side of the property. This would provide 5 conforming lots with area above 15,000 square feet. The sole variance we would be looking for at that time would be the frontage on Green Road. This is the original layout with the area adjusted for the right-of-way required by the county.
We thought required by the county.
Correct.
Right.
This layout is an alternate layout that we believe will address most of the comments or most of the concerns, if not all, from the neighbors on Green or utilizing Green Road. Most of the concerns were relative to the additional driveway and the quote overutilization, which would indicate something that was under 15,000 square feet. This layout removes the third driveway off of Green Road. It provides the green dogleg to Western Highway, abutting the firehouse parking lot. This, you can see from the location of the proposed dwelling, would be tucked behind the 2 houses, east and west. It would be barely visible, if at all, and once the vegetation and the houses were constructed from Green Road, and would not impact traffic in any way to any of the residents utilizing Green Road. It would not be an impediment to the driveway directly across the street. And we believe that this layout will be a much improved and should satisfy the concerns issued by the residents at the last meeting. Thank you.
Okay, so in summary, we just like the board to understand, we are not looking for an area variance because it is not required. And we have taken the access to the house away from Green Street because some of the residents were unhappy with it. And we put the access onto Western Highway. We think we've met all of the objections. And even Jay said when the house will be built, it will not be seen by Green Street. We think it's a good layout, and we would like to go to the zoning board now to get the one variance that's needed.
Okay, thank you. Let me read our consultants' reports in. Office of Building, Zoning, Planning and Administration, Jane Slavin, June 18th. She has 5 items. Okay, now I have letters. I'm not going to read each letter. I'm going to just acknowledge them from a Michael and Joseph McKieran of 14 Berry Court. They sent the letter in on June 23rd. I have a letter from a John McNamara dated June 23rd. He lives at 38 Green Road. I have a letter from Janine Davis dated June 22nd. I don't see an address on this. She's at Berry Court. I have a letter from a Margaret McNamara, June 22nd. She lives at 38 Green Road. I have another letter from, oh God, I'm going to get in so much trouble on this. Alexima Solanki. I'm very, very sorry. Please, I apologize. This is on June 22nd. Again, they're concerned. Now, I also have a letter from the Rager family at 32 Greery Court. I got one more letter. Excuse me, I'm looking for it. No. Here, I got that one. I have here. I have another letter from Michael Ameti, who lives at 20 Green Road, Japan, dated June 23rd. Everything else has been read in. Cheryl, is there anything else that I missed?
Yes, I emailed everybody another letter from a neighbor at 6 o'clock, 6:15.
Yep, I saw that.
Colin?
I'm sorry. Yep, here it is right here. I got it. I completely forgot about it. Sorry.
That's
Wait a
it
minute.
after that.
Okay, wait. Let me see if I have the darn thing. Cheryl. Yes, a letter dated today, June 23rd, 24th, from an Alan and Elizabeth Collin at 23 Great Court, Japan. Okay, thank
Okay,
you.
that's it.
Thank you very much. Mr. Young, questions, comments?
Not much, Mr. Chairman. I'm in favor of the new design, thus eliminating one of the variances the applicant would be looking to obtain. Moving that flag lot to Western Highway is a better, but that's all I had.
Thank you very much. Mr. Mandel.
Yeah, just on the driveway, I think it's from lot 3, that's the one on the corner of Independence and Western Highway. What's the distance from the corner to the driveway?
Jay, your mic is off.
Thank you. To the distance to the new proposed driveway or the original one?
No, to the new proposed driveway.
Let me just grab a scale and I'll get you an answer to that in a minute.
Okay.
From the edge of pavement, at Independence, it's 160 feet or so, plus or minus.
Oh, okay, for someone to tell from the map, that's to the lot number 3, not the flag lot, correct?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Okay, that's lot number 3 is the one on the corner, correct? Of Independence and West
I'm
End?
sorry, I misunderstood. I'll get you lot 3 now.
Okay, thank you.
The distance to the new driveway would probably be approximately 120 feet. But it's a generic layout, so, it will be somewhere in that range. But again, it's a county road, and the county had issued a letter saying they didn't want anything closer to the intersection, and we will abide by that letter.
35 feet, that's the reason I asked the question. No further questions at this time. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mandel. Mr. Andrews.
Jay, this is for you. There will be 2 driveways going out to Western Highway and 2 driveways going to Independence and 1 driveway going out to Green. Is that correct?
No, there would be 2 to Green and 1 to Independence Avenue.
Okay.
And 2 to Western Highway, correct.
Okay. All right. I don't have anything further right now.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. McCory.
Thank you, Chairman. Just a couple questions. When was this new plan revised? And did any of the board members get the new plans?
The new plan was revised in the last couple of days after we completed our research with the county highway to find out what the true designation of the road as a county road width was.
Are the new plans posted on the website, on the other town web page,
No, they're not. And I apologize for the lateness of this alternate, but we were trying our best to get this revised and get it to you to look at so that we could at least achieve a submission to the Zoning Board of Appeals to request the variance.
All right. Now, according to Jane's letter dated June 18th, she still notes that there's 2 variants required, minimum lot area and street frontage. Has she reviewed the new plans?
No, she has not. She has not seen them other than when I sent them to her earlier today. But I'll let her speak for herself.
Yes, I did see them earlier today, so one of the variances would be eliminated. They would only be required to go for the required street frontage variance, no longer the lot area width,
All right,
just
that's
the street
It's
frontage.
I just know it's tough to do due diligence looking at plans that I don't have and the public doesn't have. It appears the changes are better for the town. All their emails talk about they're not opposed to development. They're opposed to that 5-lot development that is seeking at the time. They all knew it was 2 variances. Now we're still looking for 1 variance, right? So the plan has gotten better. I'm just still concerned that, the plans you came up with still don't conform to the code with the street frontage. And is there any reason why you couldn't build a 4-lot subdivision and conform to the code?
Well, maybe I'll take that one. The land area is there. The variances that's being there is very small. Normally, the zoning board will hold a hearing and they will listen to the neighborhood as to whether they are against it. We think it's good planning. The town has permitted this kind of planning. As you well know, backyard lots are permitted. It was laid out. We originally were going to come back with the 5-lot subdivision with the access to Green Street. And we were looking for another vote because we did not have enough votes. We thought the change was going to be more favorable to the neighborhood. And that's why we presented the modified plan. Originally, we were coming back with the same design, which would have required the 2 variances. This is a modified design, which requires 1 small variance, that being access to Western Highway. We think the extra research has been very worthwhile, and we think the neighborhood should be quite happy with it based on the fact that It's a very small variance. And as the builder has said, this is something the planning board has done many, many times under the same circumstances.
Thank you. Yeah, I understand. They're having variances with lots, but there's been a uniqueness about certain lots that called for variances, and we've moved it on to the zoning board. But I don't see anything unique about this lot that it couldn't be built to code. And I don't like the fact that we didn't even get to see the plans, or the public got to see the plans. From what I saw, they do look better, but I don't know. I wish I was able to review the plans better. That's my only comment. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Bond?
Yeah, this plan is much better than the last one. That new, with the new lot going back on, the fifth lot going on to Western Highway is a much better arrangement. It takes doesn't really impact the people on Green, so I don't have any issues with it, so.
Okay, thank you very much. Before I open it up to the public, I just want to make one statement that this board does not grant variances. The only one that grants variances are the Zoning Board of Appeals. So if this project were to move forward, its next step would be go to the Zoning Board of Appeals, and at that point, they would plead their case for the only variance that they need now is the street frontage. So I understand the vast majority, if not all of the letters of concern were pertaining to the fifth lot, number one, the flag lot, or the road frontage as number two. The applicant has satisfied one of the requirements in respect to the bulk and the square footage. So he's only looking for the one variance, again, which we do not grant, which the ZBA does. So I'm going to open it up to the public. I want everybody who wishes to speak on this, please to do so. Everybody's going to be allowed 3 minutes, just so that we have enough time for everybody. And again, I'm going to open up to the public, so whomever wishes to speak on this project, please open up your mic, state your name and address, and say what you have to say. Okay, is there anybody from the public to wish to make any questions or comments on this project?
Yes.
Hello?
Yes, I see somebody. Okay, state your name and address, please.
My name is Joe McKiernan. I live at 14 Berry Court in Tappan, basically like just across from where this proposed subdivision is going to be. My question, I guess, would probably be for the builder. These five
Let
homes.
Let me just interject something right now. All the questions will be directed towards the board, and the board will ask the applicant. So go ahead, ask your question.
What type of homes are these going to be? Are they going to be ranches? Are they going to be colonials? And what is the approximate square footage of these homes?
Mr. Brenner, do you have that answer, please?
Sean, are you still with us? Sean?
Yep, there. Okay, can you hear me again?
Yes, can you tell the board?
Great question. And the answer would be there will be a mixture of high ranches and or smallish colonials. So the average size would probably be around 2,200 square feet.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Is there anybody else from the public that wishes to speak on this project? One more time, in case somebody has issues. Is there anybody else that wishes to speak on this project? I hear some noise. Anybody? Oh, that's Mr. Mandel.
That's Mr. Mandel. Mr. Mandel, yeah, mute yourself. I do not see anybody, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm going to ask for a motion to close the public session. Mr. Mandel makes the motion.
I'll second.
And Mr. Andrews seconds it. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Anybody opposed? Nope, nobody opposed. Okay. I think they're really only looking for the one variance, so I think we can move this on. So, can I have a motion for lead agent? Mr.
I'll
Young
make
makes a motion for lead agent. Do I have a second for lead agent? Mr. Andrews makes a motion for seconds, the lead agent. All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
I see no opposition. By the way, Mr. Dell has accused himself for all these votes, so that should be shown in the record. Okay, motion for neg deck.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, Mr.
Mr.
Young
Bond.
makes that. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Andrews. Okay, Mr. Bond, I don't see you over there, so I can't tell you. Can't tell you if you're there or not. I'm sorry. Okay. All in favor? Aye. Anybody
Aye.
opposed? Anybody opposed? Okay. Motion for preliminary with conditions. Do I have the motion?
I'll make that.
Okay, Mr. Young makes it. Okay, and the conditions are, Jane Slavin's June 18th letter. She has 5 items on it. And that's all I have. Everything else has been read into it. That's it, Cheryl, right?
Tom, even though you've read into the record, you have to go through the letters and select the conditions.
Okay, so I just put in each letter again?
Yeah, go through each letter. And also in Jane's letter of June 18th, number 2, is that
Right.
still relevant?
Okay, do we have to vote to take that out? Or that's
No.
just,
Just don't include it. Just go
It's no
1,
longer-
3, 4, and 5.
It's no longer relevant, Mr. Chairman, based on the submission received from Mr. Greenwell.
Okay. Okay, so the condition on Jane Slavin's June 18th letter, number 2, is not required anymore. And I will put the letters back in again. Alan and Elizabeth Cohen.
No, not those letters. Go to the meeting of June 1st. And start,
okay,
right.
okay. Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Okay, Jane Slavin, May 29th.
Mr. Chairman, that letter is now superseded by my June
Okay,
18th
well, let me
letter.
just. Okay, so that letter will just be superseded by Jane's June 18th letter.
That's correct.
We have Department of Environmental Management and Engineering, April 3rd. They have 13 items. Booker Engineering, April 26th. They approved drainage with 10 items. Rocklin County Planning, March 19th. They have 8 items. Rocklin County Highway, March 11th. They have 5 items. Rocklin County Sewer District Number 1, March 31st. They have 2. We have a letter from Rocklin County Highway letting Town of Orangetown Planning Board be lead agent. Orangetown ZBA, Rock County Planning Board, and that's it. Okay. Do I have a second?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
can I
ma'am.
just ask something?
Sure.
Can I ask the town lawyer something?
Excuse me?
Rick? Can I ask the town lawyer one question before we move on?
Rick?
Yes.
Rick, is there any issues with the board voting on a plan that was changed a couple days ago? I think we had this come up with Amazon last time. I just want to make sure before we move to the vote.
I would say that is a policy determination, number one, with Jane, and then number 2 with this board. If the board feels comfortable that they've had enough time to review and take in account of the public comment, I think there was only one person from the public that did comment on this. That's a good question. We did raise that with Amazon last week, a last minute change. But if the board feels comfortable with what they have before it, and they don't think that they need more time to make a determination, I will leave that to the board's discretion unless Jane wishes to comment from the building department standpoint.
Well, thank you, Rick.
Okay, Rick, in reference to that, Amazon went from proposing a 24,000 square foot open canopy to the day of the meeting proposing and closing it. It was a completely different application. In this case, the applicant has addressed the concerns of the neighbors and the board. And I think that if the board is comfortable with the proposed changes, that you can move forward with a motion this evening. But that's up to the board if you're comfortable with that.
Mike, if I could say something, the board in the last meeting, we're concerned with the initial layout where the driveway was on Green Avenue, and also the people living on Green. We're also concerned about it. I personally feel this is a better layout. They really didn't change the plan that much in respect to just flipping it, going from Green to Western. There was really no other big changes on it that I think would impact it, if I make sense.
Yes, Chairman, that does make sense. You're just concerned about voting on a plan that we actually haven't really reviewed. That's all, but that's one man's opinion.
Okay, no, it's well taken. If you wish to poll the board, I will by all means. Okay, let me go ahead and do that. Mr. Young, your concerns on this plan, would you like to just hold off on this and review the plan, or just move forward on it?
I'd like to
Because
move
of this-
forward on this.
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
I'd like to move forward on this.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Mandel.
It's a great plan, however, we don't have the up-to-date plans. I think it sets a bad precedent when we do those things.
Do you want to move forward, or do you want to hold off on this?
I don't know if I see a final plan.
Okay. Mr. Andrews, do you want to move forward on this, or do you want to have them come back and see the plans?
Let me just ask Mr. Greenwald a question about the plan that he put up on the screen. Was that the plan that you would present to the board, Jay?
Yes, it is. And if I could, Mr. Chairman, I would like to reiterate what you were getting at before. There is no change to the drainage pattern. There is no change to the grading. The only change is that the driveway has been removed from going out to the Green Road in favor of Western Highway. The driveway was not a big change either, because it originally traversed along the northerly line of the firehouse out to Green Road. Now it traverses along the northerly line of the firehouse out to Western Highway. So, we have to go to the county and we have to get driveway permits. We have to go to the zoning board and get variances. We have to go to the architectural review board and get the layout confirmed and reviewed by them. And we have to come back to you again for final. So there really was a very minor change, except it's probably a major change from the residents in their perception from Green Road. Thank you.
So in lieu of that answer from Jay, the plans that he put up on the screen tonight, to me, are very well, and I think they're sufficient enough to go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Bond.
Yeah, I'm okay with sending it to the ZBA. So.
Okay. Mr. McCory, you want to hold this off to look at the plans again?
Yeah, I voiced my opinion. That's the plans are enough for public review on the website. We don't have the plans in front of us. It's a better plan. I just don't think we're getting the proper review. So,
okay. Well, the only thing I can say, in respect to that, I mean, they're not getting a final. They have to go to the ZBA. At that point, by the time they get an appointment with the ZBA, the plans will be circulated. We're going to see it back here again if ZBA isn't, and in fact, does grant the variance. ZBA may change it again, and they might do something else, which we don't know. So, okay, that's your feeling. Okay. So the way it looks is Mr. Young, Mr. Andrews, Mr. Bond, and myself feel that this should go forward. And Mr. Bandel and Mr. McCory feel that it should come back after review of the plans. I think the four have it, and I think that I like to, I think we should let this move on and with the conditions and see what ZBA does and come back. Okay. Do I have a second on that?
I'll second it.
Okay, Mr. Young seconds.
Mr. Bond.
All in favor?
That was Mr. Bond, second.
Yeah.
Okay, I think Mr. Andrews seconded. I'm not sure because I can't see Mr. Bond, so I can't.
Yeah, it was Mr. Bond, Chairman.
Okay, thank you. So it's 4 in favor and 2 against. The 2 against are Mr. Mandel and Mr. McCory, with Mr. Dell abstaining. Okay?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Good night.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next,
Appreciate
okay,
it.
next project is PB 20-10 HUN site plan.
There it is.
Tom, I
Yes.
emailed everybody a new project narrative that Mike Esme did. He should be reading it, or you should ask him about it, but you all have a copy of it.
Yeah, I have this one. I have Michael Esme and
Right,
Mika. Okay.
right, but there's a new email that was just sent about 15 minutes ago. A revised project narrative.
All right, let me see. It's upside down. Oh.
Mr. Chairman, it's probably best if you let the architect of record, Mr. Esme, read it into the
Okay.
record.
Okay,
Okay,
very good. Thank you.
Okay, can you hear
Mr.
me?
Esme. Yes,
This is Mike Esme. Can you hear me?
yes, we can.
Okay. What was emailed to you, and I did email it earlier, but I had to change the method of emailing it, so that's why it came 15 minutes ago. Anyway, this is a response to the additional comments submitted by some of the interested parties in connection with this application. And the important thing is the first statement. It's the intent of the Hyuns to make an application to the Zoning Board of Appeals to seek variances from the zoning ordinance in connection with this proposal. The Hyuns are fully aware that if successful in gaining these variances, they will be making an application to the Planning Board for final approval of the site plan. We do believe that at this time, it has been shown that the concerns of the Planning Board and other agencies that have been expressed will be successfully addressed with that application. So I'm going to make some comments about the latest letters that were sent in connection with this project. And I should add that I believe that Mickey Hyun and her husband are also part of this meeting.
So in response to Director Jane Slavin's latest comments, first, the proposed retaining walls will be designed by a structural engineer, and they'll be in the final application. The decision to require this application to be submitted to the Architectural Review Board, this is new, and I believe that it's at the discretion of the building inspector. So if it's been deemed necessary that the Hyuns will have to make an application to the Architectural Review Board, should this application be made prior to or after the application to the zoning board, or prior to or after an application to the planning board? We don't know where this would come in the cycle. Like I said, this is new. 3, the variances requested are substantial. I'll probably put that in quotations, but taken in context, not unique to Tweed Boulevard. A large percentage of residences along Tweed have asked for and received variances, and most of them have been front yard and height. Now, Director Slavin refers to 4 variances that will be required. The first, floor area ratio requirement is 0.20, and 1.19 is proposed. That is big, but the property is comprised of 2 tax lots in Orangetown, one in Piermont, and it's 2 tax lots, one in Orangetown, one in Piermont. When the tax lots are taken together and slope requirements are applied, the floor area ratio for the existing residence would be 0.144, and for this proposal, 0.276. By considering the 2 lots together, the FAR of 0.276 would not be a substantial variance for a property on Tweed Boulevard. The Orangetown piece that this house is mostly sitting in, when you take away land for the slope that has to be considered, is between 3,000 and 4,000 square feet. It's very small, but this is in fact it's a 22,000 square foot lot, which, because of slope, is reduced down to somewhere between 10 and 11,000 square feet. Okay, rear yard requirement is 45 feet and 0 is proposed. Again, by considering the 2 tax lots together, the rear yard setback would then actually be 91.5 feet, more than conforming with the ordinance. But that 91.5 feet is in the village of Piermont. Front yard setback requirement is 40 feet and height requirement is 9 inches for each 1 foot of distance from the property line. In considering these requirements, it is important to note that the county highway right-of-way at this location is 80 feet wide. As previously stated, this 80 feet wide section of Tweed Boulevard represents approximately 1% of the length of Tweed Boulevard, which for almost its entire length is 60 feet wide. It makes no sense that this section of Tweed is 80 foot wide. The following information that was obtained from the Office of Building, Zoning, and Planning shows some representative properties located on Tweed Boulevard as examples of properties that have over the years received substantial variances. And can I go through all of them? Property number 21, that's the Gerards live there now. Variance granted, 0 front yard. And the height is 216 inches for, in this case, 0 height, 0 feet, because the building is located on the property line. Property number 25, that's now Kim, 2 foot front yard, 133 inches per 1 foot. 27, Kagan, 2 foot front yard, 60 inches per 1 foot. Property number 31 Bracken, that's 15.4 feet. Front yard 49, 5.1 feet front yard, 65 Bauer, 13.8 front yard, 119 property, which is relatively near the Hyun's property, 2.2 foot front yard. The property number 23, that's Thorpe, 10-foot front yard. In each case, these have a 60-foot front yard, except for 49 Kuznets, that's a 50-foot front yard. So if you go down the distance from the center line of the Tweed Boulevard right-of-way to the existing structures, go from 30 feet to 45.4 feet. Now, in comparison to the Hyun residents, they're looking for the 1.7 foot front yard and in this case, 208 inches per 1 foot of height. But they have an 80-foot right-of-way, which means their distance from the center line of that right-of-way is actually less than some of the other properties that have been listed here. So of these examples, 3 have similar front yards to what the Hyuns are requesting, and 1 has no front yard, 0 feet. 6 of the examples are closer to the center line of the right-of-way and center of the roadway than what the Hyuns are requesting. If one applies a 60-foot wide right-of-way to the Hyun, and this is hypothetical, but 60-foot wide right-of-way to the Hyun residents, then the variances sought for front yard setback would be 11.7 feet and the height 29 inches per foot. In addition, the proposed addition will be no higher than the existing house and as designed, presenting the least potential disturbance to the land and to the neighborhood. When taking into consideration the critical environmental area, the proposed addition will result in the least amount of site disturbance and the least amount of additional impervious surface. Now, in response to the Department of Environmental Management, I say, as previously stated, after applying to and hopefully obtaining the necessary required variances, and prior to resubmission to the planning board for final site plan approval, the following will be incorporated into the drawings. And that's a listing of what was listed in the environmental management's letter needs to be included in the drawings. And it will be. Secondly, a test pit was hand dug on the property on June 14th at the location of the proposed dry wells as shown on the site plan. Based on this test pit, Dennis Letson, a professional engineer, is confident that the increase of runoff from the new impervious surface will be adequately mitigated. Mr. Letson will provide a copy of the field perk test results and his design for the stormwater mitigation using mutually agreed upon rainfall data to the Department of Environmental Management and Energy Engineering for review and approval. In response to Kenneth D. Gennaro's, that's PE of Brooker Engineering, it's basically the same comment. After the variances are granted, his project comments 1 through 10 will be incorporated on the final site plan for final site plan approval. And then I add that Mr. D. Gennaro's drainage review recommendations state that the proposed action has provided drainage information that demonstrates the potential significant adverse impacts with respect to drainage can be mitigated, and that he recommends that the Hyun site plan be approved for drainage subject to his project comments. So those are my comments, and the important thing is that we can move on to the zoning board to find out if the Hyuns will be able to get the variances that they need to do this project. And then we will certainly be back with all the information that would be required for final site plan.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Esme. All right, let me read the consultant's reports in. Office of Building, Zoning and Planning, Jane Slavin, June 18th. She has 4 items.
Mr.
Office of
Chairman,
Building, yes, ma'am.
can I speak to that as the architect brought it up? The reason for Akabor is the original submission for the January 24th meeting did not show the elevation heights of the proposed retaining walls. And I think it's important for the board to know that the retaining walls range in height from 1 foot to 12 foot. The revised submission that was dated March 10th, 2020, now have the top of wall and bottom of wall. That is why that notation was added to go to Akabor due to the height of the walls.
Okay, thank you.
That's,
I'm sorry. Okay. Okay, so Jane Slavin, June 8th has the 4 items, okay? Department of Environmental Management and Engineering, Town of Orangetown, May 28th. There's actually 7 items. There's 6 2 times, that's 7. Booker Engineering first. The proposed action has provided drainage information that demonstrates that potential significant adverse impacts with respect to drainage can be mitigated. We therefore recommend that the HUN site plan be accepted for drainage, subject to the above project comments, of which there are 10. Okay, then we have a narrative. And everything else has been read in. Cheryl, is there anything else?
That's it.
Okay,
So-
thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, Mr. Young.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Esme, your client has got a handful with that project. That house is, I understand it's in need of some renovations and such, and now would be the good time to come here to request some additions and such, but you guys do have your hands full with that property. If you can satisfy Mr. Peters' request for the perk tests and the pits, that'll go a long way, as well as meeting Ms. Slavin's requirements, as well as the ZBA variances. But I'm willing to listen to what the rest of the board has to say. That's all I had, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Mandel.
okay. Yeah, I looked at, I see it's quite a few properties on Oxford Boulevard that he mentioned, which are observable from the street, that you can see the short driveways. Everything up there needs variances. And you're not, it's going from 2 bedrooms to 2 bedrooms, I think. Is that true?
Mr. Esme, your microphone's off. Mr. Esme, your microphone is off.
there we go. There, I'm sorry. I was muted by somebody. Yes, 2 bedrooms.
Okay, increasing the number of people in the house, just the 2 people or a third person?
2 people and actually Mr. and Mrs. Heon and their father.
Okay,
So 3 people.
all right. Okay, nothing further at this time. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Dell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Question for Mr. Esme. What has been changed with the plan, on the plan since the last time we saw it? Have there been any?
Not much, not much. A benchmark establishing the reference for elevation for the top topography was added. Maybe maybe some clarification, but nothing's actually been added per se. Maybe a couple of dimensions.
All right. So when were these
Is this-
changes? When were these
I didn't hear
changes
that.
made? When were these changes made?
On 3/10/20.
Okay, so there's been no changes to this plan since March.
Correct.
Okay. I'm familiar with the site. To say that the existing house needs repairs, I think is being generous. It's a very, very difficult site. I could see the need for some of the variances. And I think most of what you're asking for seems to me at this point to be justified. One minor addition is that the silt fence that you're showing, and we've been reviewing these for many years, you're showing silt fence with wire. I would strongly suggest that on the upside of the downslope area that it be reinforced with hay bales, because I've seen these fences fail during heavy rains. So that would be a minor issue, but in terms of preserving the area, I think it might go a long way, because I've seen these get out of hand and damage happening all the way down to 9W. So even though you're not much, I think that won't be a problem for you, would it?
No, it's a good idea.
Okay. You're going to obviously have to basically, from what I could see, clear the house right down to its essential framing and then probably rebuild that. I think your solution of extending the driveway to eliminate, you'll be basically eliminating the need for that drawbridge type system that you have there now, right? You'll be able to
Correct.
enter direct house. Okay, so you're going to get rid of that bridge, or are you going to keep it?
No, it's what, as you've described it.
I know, but are you going to get rid of it, or do you intend to keep it?
Oh, no, that bridge is gone.
Okay, well then you should so mark it on the plan. I think that would be a good idea.
All
It didn't
right.
look like it would be removed. Did I miss that?
I'm sorry, I didn't understand that.
If you're going to be removing that, so it should be, that should be mentioned on the plan. Did I miss that note?
There's a reference to removing all the decks, but there's nothing specific about the bridge. But
Okay.
I will add that note.
And
I will
add it
certainly
on,
add that note.
so it's not just in notes on the plan itself. So it's clear to anybody looking at it, casual building inspector, not that they're really casual, but it'd be abundantly clear. So you could probably list it in both places.
Yeah.
It's a difficult site. It looks like you've come out with a decent solution to it.
Thank you.
That's all questions, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Dow. Mr. Andrews.
Yeah, Mr. Este, with the addition going up, are you going to be putting in the retaining walls in front of that addition before the addition goes up? I can't see how you would do it any other way. Just an
Yeah.
FYI to me.
Yes.
All right, so
And actually, when that retaining wall is cast, there will be also, it'll be incorporated with into the house itself, the foundation of the house, and there will be other concrete walls that will be poured at the same time.
Okay. I have no further questions, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Andrews. Mr. McCory?
Thank you, Chairman. Yeah, this is it's a unique lot, where you're not looking for the variances to maximize your profits. You're looking at because you needed them to repair this home and to improve the home. So, I got no issues with it. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Bond?
No, I'm okay with moving forward to the ZBA. So.
Okay, thank you very much. At this point, I'm going to open it up to the public. Anybody who wishes to speak on this project, please state your name and your address. Again, anybody from the public wish to speak on this project? Okay, one more time. Anybody in the public wish to speak on this project? Okay, hearing none, I'd ask for a motion to close the public session. Mr. Mandel makes the motion. Mr. Young seconds. All in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed to? Okay. I think the board has kind of agreed that we should let them move on. So I'm asking for a motion for a lead agent.
I'll make a motion.
That was Mr. Bond. Mr. Bond makes a motion. Who seconds it? Mr. Mandel seconds it. All in favor? Aye. Any opposition to it? No opposition. Okay, motion for a neg deck. Mr. Mandel makes the motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Young seconds it. All in favor? Aye. Okay. Any opposition? None. Okay. So we're going to go. Let me have a motion for preliminary with conditions.
I'll make the motion.
Mr. Young makes preliminary with conditions. And the conditions are James Slavin, Department of Building Zoning, June 18th, 4 items. The Department of Environmental Management and Engineering, Town of Orangetown, Bruce Peters, May 28th, 7 items. Booker Engineering, June 21st, have 10 items. And I agree with Mr. Dell in respect to with the silt fence. I'd like to make it a condition that you use hay bales in addition to the silt fence. Okay.
Yep.
Do I have a second on that? Do I have a second, Mr. Yes, Mr. Mandel seconds. Yes, Mr. Dell.
Remember to put in there about the pedestrian bridge to be removed on the plans.
Okay, Mr. Esme, make sure that that is on the map, that the pedestrian bridge will be removed and not being reused.
Yep. Hay bales and bridge have been noted.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Dell, you second it? Yes, you got Johnny, you second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition?
Tom, you have to
Okay,
include
you're
the
good. Thank you,
letters.
sir.
Tom,
Yep.
you have to include the
Yes.
letters from the prior meeting, from the January meeting,
Okay, I'm sorry.
before you second.
Cheryl, you got to keep track. You know, okay, so we're going to unsecond. So let me add these
Okay.
letters in. January 24th. I thought they were all read in. Okay, I saw something there. I thought it was read in. I'm sorry.
Start with
Jan-
Rocklin County Planning of January 13th.
Rockland County Planning, January 13th. They have a total of 9, but I see a circle around number 1. Community development does not. Okay, I don't think that's anything. Okay, so Rockland County Department of Planning, January 13th, have 9 items. Rockland County Health, January 28th, has 2 items. Somebody's, Mr. Bond, your microphone's on. Mr. Bond, shut your microphone, please. Thank you. Rockland County Highway Department, December 30th. They have 5 items. Rocklin County Sewer District Number 1, January 15th. They have 2. Letter from the Village of Piermont dated January 17th. From the Village of Piermont, Village Building Inspector. New York State Department of Transportation, January 6th, their letter. And we have Town of Orangetown Planning Board Lead Agent from the Rocklin County Health Department, Orangetown VBA, Rocklin County Highway Department, Rocklin County Planning Department. That's it. Okay, so with those additional comments, is there any discussion for the board members? If not, I'm going to ask for a second to put them in. Mr. Mandel seconds. All in favor? Aye. Okay, any opposition? None. Okay, Mr. Esme, you're set. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next one is PB 20-04 Lander Minor Subdivision. Mr. Brenner, did he come back? There he is. Okay.
Yes, I am back. I am the attorney for the builder who is representing Mrs. Lander. I will be present. The builder, William Helpke, will be present. I don't know if the engineer is present, but I also see that Miss Lander is also present. It's the first time I've met her, and if we have any questions, we will be able to ask her. This primarily is a subdivision of an oversized lot.
Okay, thank you. I'll go through the comments. Office of Building, Zoning and Planning, Jane Slavin, January 13th. She has 4 comments. Department of Environmental Management and Engineering, Town of Orangetown, June 15th. Bruce Peters has 5 comments. Booker Engineering, June 21st. The proposed applicant provides the required information that demonstrate potential impacts with respect to drainage can be mitigated. We therefore recommend drainage of the Lander subdivision to be approved for drainage subject to the above project comments, of which there are 9. Rocklin County Sewer District Number 1, June 2nd. They have a total of 8 with quite a few subparagraphs. 3 pages. Okay, I believe that's it. Cheryl, is that it?
That's it. You already read the other letters into the record.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Young,
No comments at this time.
thank you very much. Mr. Mandel,
Okay, just a question on the frontage. Are we going with 100, or are we going with 75, 125?
Mr. Bond, did you, or Mr. Mr. Brenner, did you hear that?
No, I did not. Can you tell me what Mr. Mandel said?
On the frontage, okay, on the frontage, are we going with 100 feet and 100 feet, or are we going with 75 feet and 125?
I believe it's 75 and 125. Just let me check the drawing, okay? It's going to be 125.19 and 75.
So the reason I asked that is because I think Mrs. Mandel had written in originally that the house had been built in 1904, and that the size of that lot, making it 75 feet, takes away from the original setting as it was built in. But I guess she changed it, or they decided not to go to that plan. That was my question.
Originally, your director of your building department had made a recommendation if certain modifications were done, the lot would work out much better. They went back to engineering. She was correct. So that's why the changes were made.
Okay, that answers my question. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mandel. Mr. Dell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's a very unusual lot. It looks like a lot of time was spent in preserving trees, a lot of effort. I think it will be well screened. Normally, flag lots I have trouble with. I think this one is actually very nice in many ways. I think the amount of disturbance you're doing on either side of the driveway may be a bit excessive. I think you could cut that down a little bit. That would certainly help the large pine trees that are on both sides in the front and also as you go towards the rear of the lot. I would like to see no disturbance within at least 20 feet of the of that southerly, I believe, southerly side yard. Is that a problem?
I will take it into consideration and give it to the engineer.
Well, just take a look at it. You're an engineer. I don't mean to put you on the spot.
I know, but I don't want to go on
See what I'm
anybody's,
talking about.
I don't want to go on anybody's turf, but we will definitely take it into consideration and try to do what you want, Mr. Dell.
Okay, well, for my ascension to what you're doing, I would put that down as not just something you would investigate, but something that you could do. I think you'll see it's no problem whatsoever. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. Mr. Andrews.
I have nothing right now.
Thank you very much. Mr. McCory.
Thank you, Chairman. No, it's a better plan than last time with the that you don't need the variance now. But yeah, that's it. I got nothing to say about it.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Bond.
No, I'm okay with it.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm going to open it up to the public. Anybody who wishes to speak on this, please state your name and your address. Is there anybody from the public that wishes to make any questions or comments and speak on this project? Yes,
Hello?
sir.
Hello?
Mr. Landers, can I help you?
Yes, hi. I've lived at the property for 33 years, and before me, my cousin lived there for 50 years. It's a beautiful property, and it would be nice if we could just keep it going, but I'm 79 and not well. So I really think they've done a very good plan. I did say I didn't want the house to have only 75 feet. So the house is going to have 125 feet. And that lot will go down to the garage, and that's very pretty. And then, since you only immediately to the south have the driveway, and the house is, you might call it a flag lot, but it's a beautiful one. It's in the former apple orchard. I think it'll be very pretty for everyone, and the neighbors won't be affected that much. We used to have a barn with a band practicing, and no one cared about the noise then, so I don't think it will be a disturbance. So I thank you for your consideration. But it is 125 with the old house, 75, and then expanding below the garage. And because we border on the east with what I still call Letterly, though it's changed ownership 4 times, it gives it a very nice airy feeling. It's trees everywhere. And those trees were planted by a cousin of mine. It was very mixed wooding, and the land goes back to the Blauvelts, which half the county goes back to, and the Hogan camps. I've written a history of the house. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, anybody else wish to speak on this?
Hi, my name is Thomas Tekekono. I live in 3 Duryea Place next door.
Yes, sir, go ahead.
I have a few questions. Just want to know where will be the driveway from my property from 3 Duryea Place? How many feet is going will be the new driveway.
Mr. Brenner, can you explain that?
Oh, okay, just one thing. Mr. Helmke, are you here? You want to open up your speaker? You want to explain it?
Yes,
Bill?
Don.
Yeah.
Okay. I have a 75-foot right-of-way. It shows approximately, I would say, 40 feet from the south property line of the gentleman's property. We have a 75-foot wide. I'm all the way to the north end of the 75 feet, more to the north. It's not in the center. So we're about 40 feet off of the property line with the driveway, and we're not disturbing any trees.
Okay, another question. How much square feet is the house?
Square footage of the house is probably going to be about 3,000. I made it 60 by 32, I think. It's going to be approximately 3,000 square feet.
So I think that the plan does not show that much square feet on the house.
Well, I feel it's plenty at this time. I live down the street. My taxes are 22,000 on the same house. If we do something too big, it's going to be hard to sell, you know. I don't mean to, you know, I'd like to build bigger, but it's going to be tough because of the tax bills, you know. Honestly, that's why I'm trying to keep it smaller, if possible.
Okay, what's going to happen? See, we have a big major problem because my property sits like 2 feet down the property. All the water is coming from the Juliet place and also from the landed property to our property. Is there any way you could, you know, block some water entering to my property? Maybe like, you know, on our border, maybe you could make some blockage for the water to go down towards the landed property, towards the downgrade.
Yes. Can I speak? Can I speak now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. I know that out by the road, there's a curb cut right off the property line where this gentleman lives. My brother built the development years ago, and there's a curb cut right on almost on a property line. That curb cut's I got to put a curb back in there. So that's going to keep the water running down the road. Right now, there's a curb cut on the south end of my property, like within 5 feet of my property line. And that's why this gentleman is getting water, because it's running off the road going right in. But I have to replace that curb, and the driveway is going to be approximately 35 feet from that. So it shouldn't affect going down his property. I'm willing to put a berm there, whatever I have to do to make him happy. I'm not looking to give anybody a hard time, but it's mainly coming from the road. It's the first 30 feet going off the road that's going towards this gentleman's property. I can't disagree with that.
Well, plus the fact the drainage consultant has come up with a zero discharge concept, so there will be no additional water ever going onto this gentleman's property.
No, and most of it goes back. You can see the topo going down and 2 foot intervals there. It shows it going all down and nothing really going over there except up by a road. I agree with the gentleman. He's right. Other than that, but I can put a dirt berm there if they like, put a couple plants, but I'm disturbing no pine trees, none. I'm probably going to take 2 trees down on the whole property because just to get the driveway in, that's it.
Okay, now another thing, I'm talking about the trees itself. The trees, there's like big trees on my border. It's basically, you know, like the 2 big storms, you know, fell like 7 pine trees to my property. Luckily, nothing went to my roof. All these big pine trees are on my property going, if anything happens, it's going to go into my property, onto my roof. Probably it will destroy all my building. Is there any way you could replace these trees?
Well, I would prefer not to take the trees down. They've been there for probably 50 years.
I don't want the trees, but I need to make this comment because it's really threatening my roof, my building. It's a huge pine trees.
If there's a few trees that got to come down, I'm willing to take them down. Of course, absolutely. If you
Wait. We have laid out a plan. We have shown the trees. We're going to build it in accordance with the plan. If some way we can assist in doing some trimming, but Mr. Dell, and I think everybody else on the board wants to keep most of those trees. They're beautiful trees and we want to keep them.
Let me ask Mr. Jimenez a question. The trees that you're talking about that are affecting your roof and everything, are they on your property or on the next door neighbor's property?
It's on next door's property.
Okay. So I mean, that you're gonna have to work out with them. Like Mr. Brenner says, we really don't want to take any trees down if it's necessary. If you can work something out between you and the builder, and if they can help you out, that would be advantageous to you and to the builder. But I don't think that anybody on this board would ask the builder to take a large tree down if it's still living and if it's in good health.
May I add? We did lose 20 trees in Superstorm Sandy. There was something about the way the wind came up from east to west that the pines went down. And it was a nuisance to you, sir, my neighbor. And you'll recall I paid all expenses and nothing did hit the roof. It was a nuisance.
Yeah, thank God. Thank God. That's what I'm saying,
Okay, let's one at a time, and please direct your questions to the board, please. Okay, so, okay, we understand with the trees. I think the board cannot do anything in respect to the trees because the trees are up, they're living, and they're in good health. If you can work something out with the builder, and if he's willing to do something with you, that would be up to him, okay? Do you have any other questions, sir?
I don't have anything right now. Now,
okay.
One more thing. With regards to the Rocklin County drainage, it's talking about some easement for the sewers and everything. Is that rectified?
I don't understand. Could you repeat that, sir?
The sewer system, how the sewer system is going to be on the property?
The sewer will be connected to the sewer on, I guess that's the eastern property line. There's an existing sewer there and it will be connected to that sewer. That's why we're negotiating with the county and the town of Clarkstown. That will be a direct connection. It will not affect you in any way.
So it will be connected in front of the Duryea place?
No, not going to the street. It's going to the back.
He says okay.
I don't have anything.
Okay, you all done?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay,
Mr.
anybody
Chairman?
else in the Did you turn your microphone off, sir?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I'd like to
No,
direct to Mr. Helmke.
Mr. Dell, go ahead.
Question to Mr. Helmke. Sir, can you put your, okay.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Okay, I made a comment to Mr. Brenner about having no site disturbance, no changing grade within 20 feet of the southerly property line to save the trees that we're talking about. Because if you look at the way the grades are done there, you're coming within maybe 10 to 15 feet of those trees, and I think you might be looking for trouble. Whereas I don't think it's any problem, as I mentioned earlier, to not come within 20 feet of the property line. Do you agree with what I'm saying? Can you see what I'm talking about?
Yeah, keep the trees along the property line. I don't want to disturb any more. There's 44 trees on this subdivision. I don't want to take down more than 2 or 3 at the most.
No, I understand. You won't have to, you might have to take them down if you did the grading according to the way it's drawn here. But if you don't have any grading taking place within 20 feet of the southerly property line, I think that should be sufficient to save those trees.
To save all of them if I can, yes, absolutely.
No, I understand. But do you have your map in front of you?
Yeah, I have the map in front of me, yeah.
Take a look at the southerly portion, almost directly opposite the new proposed house.
Oh, opposite the house, I'm sorry, okay, yep.
Okay, towards the southerly line.
Yep, they're pretty far away, they're on a property line.
Within a couple feet of the trees. And that's not good. They don't have to be. Everything can be 20 feet away.
Mm-hmm. Another
Agree
way
that would. Yes?
about changing the grade, you're saying? I'm sorry.
Well, just don't change any grades. Right now, you're showing grading taking place within almost within 5 feet, maybe closer, with one or two of the trees. You don't have to do that. Just keep
Down
your
by the house.
grading away from the trees, from the property line.
Okay, I have no problem with that.
Good, I figured it would make the trees last. And if you need to do anything, obviously do it with hand tools, but you don't come in there with a machine and destroy the roots.
No, I do my own grading on my own equipment, but I know pine trees are very shallow. The roots are right
That's
on top.
exactly it.
They're like
I
maybe,
was in the landscaping business too. In fact, we knew you many years ago. But anyway, so you would have no problem keeping 20 feet off the southerly property line, right? Or am I
absolutely,
wrong?
absolutely.
No problem.
Mhm.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, is there anybody else from the public that wishes to speak on this? Okay, one more time. Anybody else from the public that wishes to speak on this? Okay, hearing none, I'll ask for a motion to close the public portion. Mr. Andrews makes the motion, Mr. Young seconds it. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? No opposition. We're ready. I think we can move on with this. I'm gonna ask for a motion for lead agent. Mr. Mandel makes motion for lead agent. Do I have a second? Mr. McCory seconds it. Okay, a motion for a neg deck. Mr. Bond makes the motion for a neg deck. Mr. Andrews second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? None. Okay, a motion for preliminary with conditions. Mr. Mandel. Conditions are Jane's Office of Building, Zoning and Planning, Jane Slavin, January 13th, 4 items. Department of Environmental Management and Engineering, Town of Orangetown, June 15th, 5 items. Booker Engineering, 9 items. Rockland County Sewer District, 8 items, total 3 pages. And I believe everything else has been read in. Is that correct, Cheryl?
Yes, but you have to acknowledge the comments from the prior meeting.
Okay. It's here somewhere. Should I just read them in again? Because where did I, oh, here it is.
You can start with Rockland County Planning.
Okay. Good thing you're around. I'd be all messed up. Okay, Rockland County Planning, December 9th. They have 6 items. Rockland County Health, January 14th, 2 items. Town of Clarkstown, December 12th. They have a narrative. The Clarkstown Planning Board does hereby deem the matter to be local determination, which is, Town of Orangetown. Rockland County Sewer, District Number 1, January 8th. And they have 10 items. Town of Orangetown Planning Board Lead Agent, Rockland County Health Department, and that's it. Okay, do I have a second?
Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry. To put in to put in what the applicants agreed to, no change of grade within 20 feet of the southerly property line, and that's to be shown on the map.
I believe he said he was going to try. I don't know if we can mandate that he do it.
Well, Mr. Helmke just agreed to it, so.
Okay, if Mr. Helmke agrees to it,
because-
please put that in, that there'll be no disturbance, I think, on the southern property line of more than 20, less than 20 feet.
Within 20 feet.
Absolutely. We'll make a note of it if you like, no problem.
Okay, thank you very
And
much.
that's indicated on the plan. Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you very much. I think we need a second on the, okay, Mr. Mandel. Okay, all in favor? Aye. Any opposition on it? No opposition. Okay. You're all set. Okay, next item. PB 20-31, Henry Kaufman Campgrounds. 92Y and Camp 12 Trails Site Plan. Mr. Brenner.
Yes. Ready?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let me give you the team. The team's going to be myself, the attorney. The Federation has Mr. Kevin Coran. He is the real estate expert and he's representing the client. The camp has their operator is David Schmelzer. The project manager is A.V. Engard and the engineer is DTS Engineering, Jerry Schwalabi. Handle my name. I think they're all here and they all will work with you. This has been a very long program. If you remember, last month, the board approved the master plan. We told the town when we first started the project around 3 or 4 years ago that it would be done in stages. The stage one was the Bronx House project, which has been approved. This is now the second stage, which consists of the 92Y and 12 trails. Also, for the board's information, the client had also determined that they would do something about assisting in the drainage problem which existed in Sickletown Road. And I do want to inform the board that engineering drawings were submitted to the town for a retention basin which will be built down on Sickletown Road. I would like to have the engineer now turn around and give you the scope of this new project. In conformance with what's on the master plan. So if DTS is here, can you pick it up?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yep, go ahead.
Okay. Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. As Don mentioned, this is the second stage of the master plan, which outlines the eastern part of the campus. So the whole site is 105.9 acres. The work that will entail this phase or this stage is about 19 acres in size, split between the 92nd Street Y camp and also the 12 Trails camp. And the purpose of the plan is basically, as it was with the Bronx site, is to provide an enhancement to the camp experience without increasing the population. Basically, we're trying to renovate and improve what's there today. So the two sites we have is the 92nd Street campsite, which is located on the north central and eastern end of the property. Will include the removal and replacement of 5 home bases and the removal of 2 restroom buildings. And what will be replaced with is the home bases will actually have restrooms within them, so we don't need that separate restroom building that currently exists today. The amphitheater will be relocated currently a little bit closer to the residents on the east side, about 100 feet north from where it is today, northwest slightly. And also there will be renovations to the aquatic center in the middle of the site. The 12 Trails camp is located in the south central portion of the site and will include the removal of 2 home bases and 1 restroom building, same kind of design as the other side, and replaced with 3 home bases, again, each one having its own restroom. There will also be some improvements for maintenance with 2 buildings, 2 buildings in the center there, just south of the home bases, and a new pool and lifeguard building will be located just north of the existing pool complex in a lawn area that's there now. There's a play field now, or a ball field, that'll be renovated, and there'll be 2 new play fields in that big lawn area that's in between the home bases and the central spine road that's located there. And finally, there's a renovation of a tennis court in that area as well. So that's pretty much the scope of the project, and obviously there's utilities and things that will connect to it and reconnect it as needed. But basically, that's the scope of the work.
Okay, thank you very much. Let me go through the project comments. Office of Building, Zoning, Planning, Administration, Jane Slavin, June 22nd. And she has in respect to 92Y, she has 5 comments. And in respect to 12 Trails, she has 5 comments. Department of Environmental Management and Engineering, Bruce Peters, June 22nd. He has 22 comments. Booker Engineering, June 24th. Drainage calculations have been provided to demonstrate that potential significant impact with respect to drainage can be mitigated. We therefore recommend that the Henry Kaufman Campground Site Plan 92Y and Camp 12 Trail Site Plan be approved for drainage subject to the above project comments, of which there are 8. Rockland County Department of Planning, June 8th. They have 10 comments. Rockland County Drainage Agency, November, no. Yeah, this is a notice of violation. This was stamped June 23rd of 2020. Sorry. Amber alert, Amber alert. There's 2 pages. Evidently, there's a notice of violation. This letter was served to provide you with a written formal notice that you are in violation of the Rockland County Stream Control Act. There's attached to that, there's also a letter from the Rockland County Drainage Agency. Please note that a permit from the Rockland County Drainage Agency required for the above referenced development proposal of the site. However, permit for the proposal cannot be issued until all existing site violations are abated. Therefore, the Rockland County Drainage Agency requests the town of Orangetown municipal departments not to grant final approval for the new proposals until the Rockland County Drainage Agency notified that all violations have been abated or permit application files are closed.
That letter was superseded. We now have until October 31st to take away that pavement area, and it was conditioned that no building permit be granted until that material be taken away.
Okay, thank you, sir. Okay, Rockland County Sewer District Number 1, June 18th. They have 2 comments. I have a memo from Mike Betterman, Chief Fire Inspector, dated June 23rd. All new roads must be stabilized to 75,000 pounds for emergency vehicles. What is the purpose of the vehicle lift in the garage? A one-time fee for hazardous material permit of $200 is required. Then I have a narrative from Mr. Brenner dated March 20th. And I have a letter or a narrative from the New York State Department of Environmental, New York State, yeah, DEC, dated June 18th, 2020. I also have a lead agent for town of Orangetown from Rockland County Planning Department, lead agent Rockland County Highway Department, and that's it. Cheryl, anything else?
That's it.
Thank you very much. Okay, Mr. Young.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll be brief. Mr. Brenner, you mentioned that the violation you have until October to clear up,
31st, that's correct.
and the violation was what again?
What had happened there, I guess several years ago, certain buildings were placed, or certain cabins were placed, which the drainage agency felt had taken away certain impervious material, impervious surfaces, or pervious surfaces, and they wanted that kind of material taken away. We have submitted a plan to the drainage agency. They approved it. So they just want this material taken away. A fine has been paid. They're just waiting for the material to be taken away. The client was given until October 31st to take it away. So it's been resolved with the drainage agency. The fine had been paid with the drainage agency. They just want the material taken away. The material will be taken away before any building permit is issued.
Thank you for the clarification. I know one of the bones of contention here was I'm losing my thought here. The mulch in the bus parking lot. I was there today. One of the caretakers, Mr. Purdue, was very helpful in explaining to me what's going on there. And most of that mulch is removed from that bus parking lot. So I just hope that satisfies the neighbors to the east. Other than that, I have no other questions.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Mandel.
So thank you, Mr. Chairman. Still a few questions. Looking at the Brooklyn engineering report, and I remember several years ago when we started this project, the people that lived along that road, the entranceway from Sickletown Road, were complaining of flooding on their property and water being diverted onto their property. I'm reading the project description here from Brooker, and they say the stormwater runoff that flows directed towards the Sickletown Road. Is this the residences we're talking about? If anybody could clarify that, if you remember back that far.
If I can help on that situation, that's why this whole new drainage system was constructed at Sickletown Road to create this situation, which will connect into the county pipe, which then will go into Lake Tapan. And as I said before, you will be seeing this project probably within a month. The drawings were submitted and we're waiting for a reply from the town.
Okay, because I remember the people coming to the meeting and complaining about the water going over. So I just want to make sure that that's one of the things that we cover there, those residences along that road. There's several questions regarding when you fill environmental impact form that Director Slavin brings up. On page 4, they talk about item G3. It talks about the space being heated or cooled. Which building are we talking about there?
Okay, I have the drafters here. Jerry, can you attempt to answer that question?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't understand the question. I couldn't hear it well.
Okay, page 4 of the full environmental impact statement, item number G, subdivision 3, approximately center building space to be heated or cooled, just 24,000 feet. Which building? These are based upon Director Slavin's comments. I just wanted a clarification on them. And which building are we talking about? Is it going to be used year round?
Oh, that's the maintenance building, if I'm understanding it correctly. So 2,400 square feet building, which is heated and cooled, is a maintenance building for, repairing of vehicles and other things for the campsite. And that needs to be heated all year round because that's used all year round.
All right. The next page, page 5, subdivision C1. The total anticipated water usage and demand per day. We need an actual thing, or just to determine the support. The question was, we need an actual number. Do you have any actual numbers, or you'll have that prepared?
Yeah, we will. We'll add that. Basically, as I mentioned earlier, there's no there's no increase in the population, so that the water usage in the campus wouldn't really change. Except that we are adding that one pool down by 12 trails. So that will have a little bit extra water usage just for the pool operations. And we can add that in there. That's not a problem. Yeah.
Okay. The next page, page 6, item E3. We talk about stormwater runoff redirected to on-site underground infiltration systems. Then you mark here, the stormwater runoff flow to adjacent properties. You state yes. Can you clarify that?
Yeah, so as you know, the runoff today from the site goes in many directions, and obviously everything eventually goes off site. So just to be fair with the EAF, we indicated that yes, water does flow off site. I will say that each of the home bases and the buildings that we proposed are directed to subsurface chambers that directed infiltrating into the ground, so that we've hopefully identified, less runoff from the site at the end of the day, which should be good.
Okay.
We'll clarify that too on the EAF.
Right. The next question is on page 8. Subdivision Q. Midway down the page. Talking about the chemicals. The propane tank. Is it going to be buried or above ground? And how big of a tank are we talking about there?
Well, originally there was a discussion about having a propane tank for heating of the pool, but that's no longer in this plan. So we're going to revise that to take out that preference.
Okay, so there'll be no propane tanks there.
That's right. And no petroleum, right?
Okay. And this question is up, we have to fill that in on the queue. Is there integrated pest management practices going to be yes or no? Should be filled in one way or the other?
My understanding is there will be no pesticides used on the property. We'll reference that in there too.
Okay. That's all I have to ask at this time. Just want to make sure though, so when you do come back, you'll be able to tell us exactly how the water will be diverted, so the housing along the entrance road from Sickletown Road will no longer be affecting the neighbors along that road.
The new design will correct that, Mr. Mandel.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Brenner. That's all I have at this time. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Mandel. Mr. Dell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Mandel and Mr. Young answered most of my questions. Obviously, for the record, this is a campus type situation, whereas the main parties affected by all the changes in this project is actually the owners of the project itself. The obvious exception, of course, is drainage, which could have a significant impact on the contiguous property owners. I have one basic question for Mr. Brenner. Mr. Brenner?
Yes.
Okay, you said that there are materials that are going to be removed. You didn't describe what those materials were. It was required by the county that you move piles of materials?
I said materials are going to be removed. Please tell. I know of no materials that are going to be removed.
It's an asphalt road.
Okay, I stand corrected. Okay.
Please, we got too many. Right now, hold on just for a second, Mr. Brenner. Kevin, Kieran, please shut your microphone off. David, shut your microphone. We're getting background noise. We can't hear.
You know what?
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Dell, please go ahead.
Okay, when we said the material, we gave the drainage agency a scheme of certain sections of pervious material where there were bases for these cabins. They're going to be taken away and there's going to be made pervious. So, and that's what the drainage agency said, okay, and they want us to do that. When we say taken away, we're making an impervious area permit.
Okay, I think that's a little clearer than what I heard before. I also want to maybe reserve the right to respond in case any contiguous property owners or neighbors in the area have any additional concerns. But that's it for now, because it looks like you've done a good job with most of our concerns. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dell. Mr. Andrews.
All my questions have been asked and answered. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. McCory.
Thank you, Chairman. Just a couple of concerns. I just want to go back to clarify that Rocklin County Drainage Agency violation. Mr. Brenner, you said it was resolved.
Yes.
We have a letter. We have a letter from 2 days ago saying that the violations have not been abated as of the date of this email. So I'm just a little confused how they don't do it as resolved, but you do.
Let me see if I can correct the situation. The situation is they wanted that material to be removed. In other words, we had the hearing with the drainage agency. We paid the fine. They were paid their fine, and the result was that they wanted this impervious material removed. We asked for extensions because we thought there was going to be camp this summer, so therefore we asked the extensions to go to October 31st. However, there will be no camp this summer, so therefore the camp can remove this material now. The only thing, if you look at the last letter specifically says that we have until October 31st to remove the material. They always put that sentence in because they don't want anybody to overlook the fact that they really don't want any building permits issued until that material is removed. And that's why they always keep putting it in the letter, and we always show the letter which permits us until October 31st to take it out. However, my client has informed me we will be taking it out shortly. Since camp is not going to be taking place this year, they're going to be taking it out shortly. So that this is going to be resolved.
All right. Just want to clarify that it hasn't been resolved. It will be resolved.
That's correct.
Will be
resolved.
resolved.
It will be. It just isn't right now.
Well, it'll be resolved by October 31st. However, we believe it will be resolved sooner.
All right. My second comment, you guys answered a lot of the questions from the other board members. Just want to point out, I guess, comment number 5 by Jane Slavin regarding the 300-foot buffer line. No buildings, tent, activity area, or recreation facility shall be less than 300 feet from any lot line. The following proposed structures require variances as follows. And you list there's six listed here that are within that 300-foot lot line. Is there a reason? I was trying to figure out on the plans here. Are you building new structures in that 300-foot buffer, or are these all repairs?
Gerald, could you answer that? Put your sound on. Put your sound on.
Sorry. So, as I mentioned before, there's 5 home bases that are being rebuilt in the 92nd Street Y, and they're being built. Many of them, I guess, three of them are being built in the same place as they are today, so the setbacks aren't increased in any way. One area that we made a change is we swapped the amphitheater that was closer to the residence, which obviously has more noise associated with it because it's outdoor, and replaced it with a home base. And the home base has the back end, which is closed off, facing the neighbors. So the front of the home base actually is interior to the campsite. So we felt that was an improvement over what was there before, but it's no closer than the amphitheater was before. So we kind of placed them in the same locations as the other structures were. We didn't really make anything closer to the neighbors than they are today. So that's really what we just placed them in the same locations, you know.
You can move anything closer.
Yeah, right.
Mr. McCrory, if I could clarify, this project has been going through multiple reviews, and the master plan, which was approved just recently by this board, shows those locations, but as part of the early decision to move these projects forward independently, each time the separate phase comes before the board, they have to go back to zoning for whatever variances apply to that section of the camp. So that's why they're listed now, but they are shown in the proposed locations on the master plan.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, just want, we always have to look out for the neighbors over there. And anything within a 300-foot buffer, I have concerns about. So just trying to do my job here, Appreciate the answer. Thank you. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Bond?
No, I'm okay with them improving the camp. It's been there forever, and the new improvements are going to make the camp that much nicer. So I have no issues.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm going to open it up to the public. Anybody in the public wish to speak on this? Please state your name and your address. Again, I'm going to ask anybody from the public wish to speak on this. Please state your name and your address. Kevin, I see that you're on, but we don't hear anything. Nope, not yet. Your microphone is on according to the indicator, but we don't hear anything. Nope. Don't hear a thing.
Mr. Chairman,
off
if
now.
Kevin would like to type in something into the chat, if he's having difficulty, I can read in his statement if he would like to do that.
Okay. Kevin, did you hear what Ms. Slavin said? That if you wish to type something in, send it in, and then she'll read it.
Hi, my name is John Conway, 34
Oh.
McKinley Street.
Go ahead, John.
I'm just a little confused about the conversation about the amphitheater. What's going on? They're moving it or replacing it?
I believe the applicant said that they are moving it to get it away from the neighbors so that there's to try to alleviate some of the noise.
Mr. Warren, this is nowhere near McKinley Street. McKinley Street is the Bronx, which you already proved. This area is completely on the other side of the North Shore. It is nowhere near McKinley Street.
Okay, well, he just was concerned about it. That's all, Mr. Brenner.
Okay.
I just wanted clarification. Thank you.
You're quite welcome, sir. Kevin, anything for you yet? Nope. Okay, is there anybody else out there in the public that wishes to speak on this? I'm going to do it one more time. Is there anybody in the public that wishes to speak on this?
Okay, Mr. Chairman, I have a.
Go ahead, Jay.
Okay, he didn't say anything though.
Oh,
I have it here. Okay. He wanted to thank Kevin Curran. Okay. I'm confused.
we have two Kevins. We have
Okay,
a
yes.
Kevin and a
So
Kevin
Kevin
with
on
no
the
last.
street. Oh, he's still typing.
Okay.
Okay. It's all right. Take your time. He's still typing, Mr. Chairman, so we'll give him a few
Okay.
minutes.
Oh, yes. After all this work, I want to see what he's got to say.
Absolutely. So his name is Kevin McCormick. Looks like he's still typing.
Okay.
Okay. So Kevin McCormack, he wants to thank Kevin Curran and Avi and Dave for meeting with us to discuss the mulch pile and for all of them listening to our concerns. We are most concerned about the mulch pile affecting our drainage, and they are looking at that. In addition, we appreciate all the comments all of you have made about the drainage and how much it concerns us. We look forward to seeing more on the drainage plan.
Okay, thank you very much. Kevin, I believe Mr. Brenner said that in that area that they are designing something now to handle all the drainage. So hopefully, and he said hopefully within the next month it'll be in. So at that time, I think you'll be able to see exactly what is being proposed and then, be able to, voice your opinion on it. Okay?
It is scheduled, Mr. Chairman, that application did come in and it will be on the July 22nd meeting.
Okay, excellent. All right, so we all know July 22nd, we're looking forward to that. Okay, one last time, anybody from the public wish to make questions or comment on this? Okay, hearing none, do I have a motion to close the public session? Mr. Mandel makes the motion, Mr. Andrews seconds, all in favor? Aye. I think at this point, we can go ahead with preliminary, so I'm gonna look for a motion for lead agent.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I think we do not have a up-to-date EAF. That may be a problem with doing SECRA. I know that Mr. Mandel in particular asked a number of questions. There were some clarifications, but I don't think that we have an up-to-date and finalized EAF. And I don't think that the board can grant SECRA or preliminary today without that.
Okay, Mr. Brenner?
I think a continuance is probably in order.
No, wait a minute. Mr. Mandel asked for certain corrections, which we agreed to do. We have a problem here. We have a problem here, a construction problem. We have to get to the zoning board. This project is not going to be built not this year, but next year. The project that's going to be built this year is Bronx House. We just want to get to the zoning board to get the variances so we can start the Bronx House project. The corrections that Mr. Mandel has asked for, these are minor corrections in terms of what we have to do in the application. It's done all the time. We will give the board the revised answers, which is what Mr. Mandel asked for. There is nothing material that was in the seeker thing that we were talking about, or that cannot be changed. We will have it corrected to you Monday or Tuesday or within a day or two. I believe Mr. Gerhardt can tell you very specifically, there was nothing there that was material on the change. It was just certain corrections had to be made, which Mr. Mandel asked for. However, we have a serious time situation here, and that's the reason we're asking that we move this project along. We've done these changes many times, and first of all, we got to go to the zoning board, and second of all, if you want to make the movement on seeker subject to these changes, we have no problems with it because Mr. Gerhardt said we will make the changes. So I have it.
Mr. Brenner.
Yeah.
Mr. Brenner, at this point, the July meetings are full for ZBA. There is no meeting in August, so you would be on September. And you mentioned the Bronx House, but that's not part of this application. That was already approved.
The client has indicated that if he did not have the variances for this project, even though the master plan has been approved and everything else, he could not expend the millions of dollars until he was sure that the town was satisfied that he was going to get these variances from the zoning board. Kevin, would you like to put your input on this?
One second, Mr. Brenner. The long EAF was not filled out properly.
Well,
and we did not, and all the questions were not answered. Specifically, number 2, the total anticipated water demand, and that is critical. They're adding a whole new pool. How can the board move forward with executing an approval of a long EAF without the form filled out properly? The last meeting, you also indicated that there would be no propane tank, but it's on this application.
And which we said we would take away, and let's get to the pool, all right? Let's think about the pool. The pool's water, first of all, there is a swimming pool there right now. There was a swimming pool that uses the same amount of water. This is just a matter of reclassifying where the water is going. And this is something that's going to happen later on. Or they could even, if they can't get water from sewers, they can truck water in. Water is not a question here, and it's an answerable situation. And getting back to the propane, you're taking something away which was on a drawing that's lessening the environmental impact. We have a time factor here. You want a modified application, you'll have it within a day or two. I think the board can very easily pass a seeker condition subject to the revision to the application which you want, which our engineers are prepared to do.
Okay. Let me ask one quick question. Ms. Slavin, you had said that ZBA is booked now until September?
That's correct.
Okay. So,
Well,
Mr. Brenner,
it's June 24th. We would never even make the publication dates.
But they don't have a July meeting?
they're booked. All their meetings in July are booked. And then
Well-
August they're off. And then September's the first one. So let me finish.
Okay.
There is enough time for you to ask for a continuation on this project and come back to us in July and still be able to make September, which is really right, what you're looking at right now. That you're not going to be able to do anything until September. So if you ask for a continuation and get these things corrected and come back, you're still at the exact same point you are right now.
Well, let me ask you a question. Is the ZBA guaranteed that they're not going to have an August meeting? They were way behind. And I was of the opinion that the ZBA was going to have an August meeting.
I have no idea on that.
Oh, that's what I was told, that they were going to have an August meeting. So they could
Mr.
have.
Brenner, I have not been advised of that at this point, and we can, the chief clerk to the board is on this call, and I don't know that she knows of anyone in August. We have not been advised of that at this point, but the point is, we have an EAF that was not filled out properly. It's lacking some information, and I'll defer to the town attorney, but I don't think that the planning board can move forward on approval of an EAF without
Yeah,
these items
Mr.
clarified.
Brenner, I think that protects anyone. If anyone wanted to challenge this, that's one way you can definitely win in an Article 78, is if secret was not done appropriately. It's up to the building inspector to determine if we have a final EAF. If we don't have a finalized and complete up-to-date EAF, there's no way we can do secret. You can't find preliminary and do secret based upon a full form being filed next week. We have to have it in place. And if it was just one or two minor changes, you could fill out the form now and submit it. But I kind of disagree with you. I think there's some major issues that need to be addressed. And we can adjourn it tonight and have you on in 2 weeks. I don't think that's a significant drawback. There's not a large public antagonism against this project. I mean, it seems like you're on your road to getting approval, certainly preliminary. Just put it off for 2 weeks, submit the updated EAF, and you'll be on in 2 weeks. But we have the building inspector now is saying it's not a complete EAF. You can't do secret in that circumstance.
Can I have a 5-minute recess? I want to call the client and have him talk to me about it. I'd like a 5-minute recess.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Can you give me?
Tom, as far
Yes.
as I know, there are no meetings of any of the boards in August.
That's what I was told, Cheryl. Thank you very much. Mr. Brenner, did you hear that? That Cheryl had said that there are no August meetings of any of the boards.
Tom, I think he's muted because he's going to be on the phone, so I don't think he heard what you said, so.
No, I heard it, but please give me 5 minutes so I can speak to my.
No, go ahead. But I'm saying, one way or the other, I think you're right in the same spot where you are now.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
though maybe slightly irregular, can we take this time to approve any minutes and other business?
I don't know. Can we take things out of order? Go ahead.
There
Yeah,
are no other,
5 minutes, we might as well make use of it. We can also discuss going back to live meetings if that's something the board would like to do. I would recommend against it, but that's something we probably should discuss tonight.
Okay, let's go ahead then and do the minutes then.
no, there are no minutes. No minutes,
Okay, then,
not yet.
look how quickly, Mr. Dell, look how quickly the minutes.
That was quick.
Okay, I got a phone call today from our astute deputy town attorney about asking when and if and how the board should go back to meeting in the public. I believe that the town board is going to try to start something up where they may meet, have public and also virtual. I had suggested that might be a good idea for us to consider once we do it. Have a public meeting where people can come down, and also have it virtually for people who really can't get out of their homes or have issues or whatever simultaneously. As for the time frame, I think everybody, including the ZBA, is kind of looking at the earliest would be September. And I don't know how the board feels about that. We don't know what's going on. If things start getting crazy again, we might go to October, November, December. Who the heck knows? But that's kind of my feeling.
September's
that
a
we
good
don't-
idea, Sam.
Yeah, that we don't do anything until at least September. So,
I agree with you, Tom, on that. Let's see what happens with the town board. Whatever problems they come up with, and they correct them, and it works out, then we could do it. If not, then just keep putting it off, as Bruce said. Let's wait at least to September at the earliest.
because these virtual meetings, they're a little bit of a pain in the neck, but I think everybody's getting the hang of it. And I think, knock on wood, that we've been kind of doing a fairly decent job with it. And, nobody's been throwing rocks through my windows about being stupid or anything yet. That may come tomorrow. Who the hell knows? But
Especially we're not meeting in August anyway, so we only have you're only talking about 2 more meetings, so.
You only have 2 left, and again, I know I say it at the end of every meeting. This is the only board that did a meeting a week for 5 weeks in a row. So you guys really should be commended for the effort that you put forth. And, Cheryl's been working so hard, and we're doing double reviews, and we're just happy that you guys agreed to help facilitate moving this stuff along. And I think I agree, and I think Cheryl agrees, it's a little early. We have to work out a lot of things. Who's going to clean what? Who's going to be responsible for making sure people have their masks on? There's a lot of unknowns right now. And yes, the town board is going to do it the first week in July. We'll see how that goes. And if it goes smoothly, then we can go from there. But we only have 2 meetings left.
yes,
And this has been working very efficiently.
yeah, let them run
Comment?
the July meeting and
Yeah.
the August meeting, and just let us, like I said, the earliest look at September. We can always push it back another month, 2 months, whatever we feel is appropriate. Like you said, we don't want to rush into this.
Yeah, that's
Comment?
September 9th would be probably the next meeting, right?
Yeah.
First September meeting.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman?
So, yes,
Okay, just a quick comment. A number of us are high risk. I am one of them. But the other thing, it's far easier to maintain social distancing in the town board by the nature of the way it's set up and the type of conversations that happen. But with us having applicants, et cetera, everybody right on top of each other, I think it would be more than a risk, more of a risk than we should consider taking. Obviously, we should consider it in September. Even when we do, following the lead of the town board, I don't know if that's a good thing, because by their nature of the meetings that they have, and also too, by the meeting setup that they have, able to maintain distancing in a way that we
I don't want to follow their lead. I want to let them do it. Let's see what happens. Let's them, hopefully that nothing happens. They don't trip over their feet, nothing, but let's just watch it. Let's watch it for 1-2 months minimum. If we feel at that time that everybody is very content with what's going on and happy with going on, then we'll discuss this again. And like I said, we're not set to any time we can do it. This is working out good. So far, like I said, there aren't too many people unhappy about it. And I think we could continue doing this on for the foreseeable future. I mean, I have no problem doing it this way. I mean, if you guys don't want it and want something else, I mean, you know, that's it. But I think this is right now the best way of going to make sure that everybody stays safe and healthy.
Mr. Chairman,
Sounds
I'd
good.
just like to state for the record that I think you've done an incredibly good job running these meetings. And Ms. Slavin, Ms. Cooper, and everyone else has really made it almost pleasant, considering that we're not all together.
Almost pleasant. What do you mean almost pleasant?
Okay, I'll give you pleasant.
I don't see it all a new haircut. Everybody's got a nice new haircut. Everybody's got a nice new haircut except me. Next week.
We're not looking. We're not looking. Everybody, seriously, everybody's been doing an excellent job. I'm very proud of all of you. Sticking together. I think we're doing the right thing for the town, and we're doing the right thing for our families by staying safe and doing this. So you should all be complimented. Cheryl, you got anything to say on that? Have you stopped laughing yet, or what? She's too busy laughing. She can't even on the computer.
No, that's fine. It's been fine. Everybody's been great. I know the paperwork I've been sending have been emails, and thank you for letting me do that. But with 4 meetings in 1 month, the paperwork was getting a little confusing. So I'll go back, once we have 2 meetings a month, I'll go back to the regular paperwork and packages.
Okay. Now, when is our next meeting?
July 8th.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't know if we're gonna have one this next Monday or not. Okay, so we're going back to July 8th. Okay, fine.
8th and 22nd.
Yes, and the overload is, we had 21 projects that we took care of this past month. Right now, we're just back down to 3 items, and then July 22nd, we'll have 3 or 4 items.
Okay, I know some of the board members have raised concern about the 7 o'clock meeting. Do we want to leave it at 7 for the time being, or do you want to go back to 7:30? Is there any consensus on that, or what you want to do? I have no problem with 7. I think Mr. Sweeney may have issues every now and then with work. I don't know about anybody else. Mr. Bedell, do you have an issue with 7?
I think 7. 7 works.
Okay. Is anybody
At least for the
unhappy?
next 2 meetings, and then we can figure out what we're doing in September.
Is anybody unhappy with 7?
I have an issue with 7. Just traffic is really picking up now in the city. It takes me about an hour to get home. But I do listen to me anyway, so whatever.
Well, no. That's a legitimate concern. I mean, for the half hour, we can go back to 7:30. There's not an issue. We want you there, and the same thing. I think Steve may have some issues too with the 7 o'clock. So, do we want to go back? I don't know if we could change it now. Maybe once we go back in September, let's do the 2 more meetings at 7 and go back in September when we discuss this some more. Go back to 7:30.
Yeah, that sounds like a plan.
Okay, all right.
Is that okay with the 2 other people, Tom and is that good for Mike and about that? Or is it going to be
Okay.
good?
Mike, for
I
some
prefer
reason,
7:30 And I wanted to know if Mike is comfortable with 7. I just think 7:30 is better all the way around. Because not only us, but also to the property owners also be in a similar situation. And I think for that, it's better to have it back at 7:30. Thank you, sir.
Okay, well, then, you know what? Let's finish out July with this. And then when we start back up again in September, we can discuss it then what we want to do in respect to, whatever time.
Yeah, Chairman, I think 7 o'clock won't be a problem with the summer traffic, but September might be a different story, leaving Midtown Manhattan. So
Yeah.
take it from there,
Okay.
Yeah, so September, we can go back to 7:30.
Mr. Chairman?
Okay.
Mr.
Okay,
Chairman,
Mr. Brenner's back.
Yes.
Mr. Brenner.
Yeah, I've spoken to my client. We are requesting a continuation. Within 2 weeks, we will come back and you'll get your revised EIS or whatever. You get your revised EIS within a couple of days.
Mr. Brenner, thank you so very much. I'd like to thank everybody from Carbon Group. They've done an excellent job. Thank you very much. So we will see you in 2 weeks.
Wait, we have to announce that it's July 8th. There will be no abutting neighbor notices, and on the signs, change the signs by hand to July 8th.
You have that, Mr. Brenner?
Yes, I did. I heard it.
Okay.
Okay, thank you very much. So we will see everyone July 8th.
I'll make a
Thank you.
motion to adjourn the meeting.
Made by Mr. Bond. Do I have a second? Mr. Andrews, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Aye.